Elden Ring forced my body to lose gallons of water, which is a weird statement, but follow me. I have poured so much sweat into my controller while fighting bosses in this game that I'm surprised I haven't passed out from dehydration. Elden Ring is not easy. Elden Ring is not forgiving. But most of all, Elden Ring f***ing hates you.
Wow.
First off, I was not able to beat this whole game. Typically in my reviews, I like to spoil the story, so people who don't plan on playing the game can experience it vicariously through my poor attempts at explaining the plot to them. This will not be one of those videos. This game is huge. Like, really big.
That's quite big. Impressive.
I don't really have a clever joke here, sorry, come back later. And because I've never played Dark Souls, and yeah, let's be honest, I'm not always the best at video games, I'm crawling through this game at a snail's pace. But not even like a normal snail. I'm like a dyslexic kid trying to read a Stephen King book.
This is good because I could barely read, so I like looking at pictures better, you know?
Who is also a snail. I guess, I don't know. It took me a great deal of time to understand what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. And even after dozens of hours and multiple bosses, I still get the shit beat out of me like a piñata at a child's birthday party. I mean, like, I don't even know who made this game. It just said it was made from software. Yeah, no shit, idiots. All games are made from software. What are you even, why put that in the game? But I should let you know, there are a few spoilers ahead. But it's nothing past early game and certainly nothing that the internet hasn't already spoiled for you. Now, I did mention that I've never played a Dark Souls game, or any game with similar combat. Honestly, I think the closest I've gotten to fighting like this is dodge rolling away from trolls in Valheim. So it's safe to say that I am a complete beginner. And in this video, I want to talk about my experience in the game so far, what I think of the Dark Souls, Elden Ring style of gameplay, and why even though I died more times than a teenage girl's phone battery, I still think this is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Also, one little side note before we jump in, I do have a mustache right now. You don't have to like it because your mom does. And don't worry, we're gonna talk all about your mom later. I promise you that. I started Elden Ring with an open mind, keen for adventure and triumph.
Let's do this!
Yeah, that shit got shut down real quick. When starting, I created a temp character just to get down the basics before actually starting the game. And of course, I chose Prisoner. And yes, of course, it was because of the GIMP suit mask. I've always wanted to be a GIMP. It's a big dream of mine. It's right up there next to Astronaut. God damn it, I can't even say this with a straight face, fuck. And because I planned on getting my ass kicked, I figured I would name my first temp character appropriately. Immediately after entering the world, I did what most people do. I went after the first moving target I saw, the mighty Tree Sentinel. It turns out you're not really meant to fight this guy right off the bat. But that didn't stop me from fighting him and getting killed a couple dozen times without doing so much as a dent to his health. And after getting literally destroyed over and over again, it started to hit me. I suck at this game, but I have to do my best to get good so I can actually review this title. Because right now, all I have is a short story about some medieval gimp getting his ass rammed by some dickhead in golden armor riding around on a horse. And although this idea is likely better than most of the videos I post, this wasn't going to cut it. Let's try this again. It sounds like two dudes humping. I created a new character, and after consulting my wife, she came up with the name Snowcone. So yeah, my name is Snowcone, and I'm a badass demon slayer, straight up destroyer of worlds. The build I went with is what I imagined the typical Dark Souls build would be, sword and shield. I heard magic is pretty OP, but I can't really speak on that, because I spent the whole game wielding some big dumbass sword that you could iron clothes on or surf with.
Just like you pull in, and you just get spit right out of them, smack the lip, whoop-ah, drop down, snap, ah!
I couldn't decide which joke was better, so there's 2 jokes for the price of 1. I'm a great YouTuber. Feeling much more confident, I once again headed back out into the world, but this time I was ready. And it turns out I'm not that bad at this game. Instead, I was just playing it wrong. I went around looking for lower level enemies, and now things were going well. I went out and killed a whole village. And after I did that, I got back to playing Elden Ring, where I killed a couple dozen trolls. And now that I leveled up, I was gaining confidence. Until I met Margit. Margit is the first boss you'll face, and spoiler alert, he's a dick. I tried fighting him for about an hour until I realized that being murdered isn't really that good of a time. But what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? This asshole is 20 feet tall, and he can summon Thor's hammer at will. I might as well be an NPC compared to this demi-goddamn thing.
Please don't hurt me.
Thankfully though, right as the existential dread was about to set in, my knight in shining armor appeared, Ethan Jones. My friend Ethan is a Dark Souls veteran and literally coached me through the first part of the game. It turns out I had a horse that whole time, and I wasn't using it. I also was using a giant sword, but I wasn't using it with 2 hands, so I was doing a fraction of the damage I could have been. And the golden seeds that I had been picking up were just sitting in my inventory instead of giving me more health flasks. So he made me feel dumb. And by doing so, gave me the knowledge I needed to finally get good. Kinda good, not actually good yet. We'll get there one day. The stupidest thing of all these things was not using the horse. I understand that horses are a new addition from software. Yeah, no, that sounds weird, but no, saying from twice is the right way to do it, promise. But my God, how did y'all play Dark Souls without them? Unless I'm in a boss fight, I'm almost always on my horse. I feel like Mel Gibson in Braveheart, as I ride in circles, just slashing enemies in half relentlessly. Literally, everything is better on a horse. Drinking, jumping, dying, they're all so much better on a horse. And this horse became my spirit animal in this game. However, I still sacrificed it every chance I got. As long as it meant that I got to continue living. I didn't give a fuck if the horse died. I don't love him that much. But now that Ethan gave us the ability to know what we were doing, it's time that we got back to progressing in the story. After that quick Skillshare lesson in Dark Souls, it took me about 6 times, but I finally killed Margit. And after frantically running around a castle for about 2 hours, I beat the second boss, Godric. Now, these fights weren't always easy for me, and this was due to my strength-based build.
Object to the test!
Being a strength-based build allows you to deal massive damage, all the while wielding comically large swords. But there's a trade-off. They also make you extremely slow. Here's how long it takes me to do a normal light attack, not even a heavy attack. Yeah, that is fucking ridiculous. So a lot of the time I would dodge and try to get a hit in, just to get slam dunked by another follow-up attack the boss didn't warn me about. You know, I'm actually getting a little mad just talking about this stuff. So before I talk more about the combat and the bosses and the pain I subject myself to in order to get views on the internet, let's slow it down and talk about something a little bit more calm. So this game isn't perfect. I think the thing I hated the most about this game was the co-op. I know co-op isn't like a main feature, and getting the help of a friend is almost frowned upon in games like this from its try-hard community, but goddamn, what a convoluted mess. It took me and my idiot friend about an hour to figure out how the hell to even summon each other. It seems like they designed the co-op system with the game's lore in mind, instead of the actual user experience. The system uses fingers, which is weird, but once we figured it out, we did have a good time.
Fingering.
Oh yeah, I'm being summoned so hard.
Fingering each other. When it worked, which a lot of the times it didn't. When joining a friend's game, there was a 50% chance I was going to get a connection drop within the first 2 minutes. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude.
Got kicked again?
This became more frustrating than dying to the actual bosses we were trying to fight. So thank you, Hondos, for sweating this out with me. Love you, buddy. Another thing I have to mention is that I owe most of my level 100 plus character to a cannonball. Yeah, a giant cannonball. Now, I wouldn't call myself a cheater, no. Instead, I just take advantage of opportunities. I would fast travel here and make a giant cannonball kill itself. And then you just fast travel again and repeat. But if you really want to get rich, just go underground and make a giant bird kill itself. All you gotta do is shoot Big Bird one time with an arrow, and you end up with Jeff Bezos level profits. Sure, it's probably not the most Dark Souls way to play this game, but this shit is hard. I'm going to take what I can get, and if that means spamming 100,000 runes by getting a cannonball and a giant bird to kill itself, then I'm in. And sure, I did save a lot of time doing this, but I felt pretty good about that because I also wasted so much time just dive rolling into random objects just to watch them explode. No lie, I probably wasted an hour or two of my life just barrel rolling through dining tables, but you know, you gotta love it. But let's get back to talking about the good stuff. The map for Elden Ring is literally breathtaking. I haven't played too many fantasy-based games, so whereas some players might see these massive castles and intricate architecture and move on without so much as a second glance, I was awestruck. It's hard to put into words, so I did my best. But I felt like there was this massive, mysterious world that lived inside my PC that I was teleported to upon starting the game. Many of the vistas had a surreal, almost familiar feel to them, as if I had been to these places before, whether it was in my dreams or a past life. God damn it, dude, I'm so fucking turned on by this map right now, dude. Holy shit. The game was touted as an open world, and although it can feel linear at points, overall, I would definitely rate it as an open world game. And because I didn't suffer any graphical issues, or texture pop-ins or any bullshit like that, it was truly an immersive experience. And I personally would love to praise the studio that made this game, if only I knew who did it. Another thing I want to touch on before I get back to the anxiety part of this video is the story of Elden Ring. They don't really give you much information on what the hell is happening, why I'm here, or what I'm even doing. And honestly, I kind of like that. Which is strange, because typically I would complain about something like this. I mean, yeah, it was a little frustrating not having quest markers. Most of the time I would just look up how to get an item, only to find out that I had already done the quest, but I hadn't gone back and talked to someone to actually get my reward. But maybe I should have paid attention to what the NPCs were actually saying instead of just exhausting their dialogue until they were dizzy and just started spitting out the same phrases over and over again. But whatever, I'm a gamer, I need it now. I feel a lot of games these days desperately shove the lore down your throat with things like audio logs, notes, and other various ways of getting you to sip their story sauce. But oftentimes we ignore these because I'm not going to stop my killing spree in order to read a paragraph about some bullshit that had happened here in this world. Elden Ring doesn't do this. Instead, it feels like they purposely withhold information from you in order to make the game feel more mysterious, and therefore alluring. And because of this, I was Googling the lore of this game like it had nice titties. I wanted to know everything about it, because the lore was playing hard to get. Honestly, I would love to do a big long video about the lore of this game and spoil it all for everybody. Maybe one day, but I'm gonna have to beat the fucking game first, so I don't know when that'll happen. So today is not that day, don't think that's happening. But yeah, I just wanted to mention these aspects of the game because they stabbed me in the heart with a drug addict's needle, and because of that, I just got super addicted to it. But anyways, let's panic. Between the combat and the enemies in this game, it's a big clusterfuck of horrors. That was horror, not whores. There might be whores in the game. I don't know, I didn't play it enough, I guess.
Don't make that whore my wife.
Obviously, the enemies are terrifying, but even the weapons can be haunting. I mean, look at this grafted greatsword. This is the weapon that I use throughout most of my game, as it is one of the best weapons you can get for a strength build. However, I don't think it's a pretty looking sword. Honestly, it kind of just looks like I held a welder at gunpoint at a local construction site and forced him to make some big dumbass sword for me so I could go rob the local convenience store with a greatsword. And yeah, it swings about as good as it looks. Because of my build, if I miss a swing, I might as well turn off my PC and go back to playing Stardew Valley on the Nintendo Switch, because the recovery time for a greatsword takes ages. So by the time I can dodge roll again, I'm usually already dead. It doesn't matter who I'm fighting or what level they are, because they will have plenty of time after I miss an attack to shove my greatsword right down my throat. Sure, the sword does crazy damage, and yes, I used it to beat about half the game. I'm still not convinced this is the right build for me, as I constantly get greedy and go for extra hits, which leaves my character steamrolled into the dirt. It's frustrating, but I promise you it's fun. I know I'm not making the game sound fun, but I swear to God, it's a good game. But what are we trying to kill, or get killed by? There's probably a couple hundred different types of enemies in this game. Hell, there's at least a dozen iterations of trolls alone. This keeps dying fresh, as ass whoopings are delivered in a multitude of ways, from regular ass knights and other normal medieval stuff to horny snowmen things. I don't know if these snowmen are trying to fuck each other or whatever. I called them horny because they actually have like horns, but I don't know, they probably fuck each other or whatever. I got to slay dragons, giant bears, and even your mom. Told you she'd make another appearance. I wish I could speak more on the fighting styles like magic or dexterity, but I never got the chance to try them because I was struggling enough with the style that I had been practicing for hours. There's no doubt in my mind that I'll play this game again as a wizard, but for this video, I tried to get as far as possible, and after a few days of playtime, I think I'm about halfway done. I've unlocked most of the map and defeated a great deal of bosses, but even after 60 hours, there's still just so many people to do and things to see. In my opinion, it's well designed, and it's just hard enough to keep me playing and not get discouraged. Other than some occasional frame drops, I didn't experience any technical issues. The combat was fun and nuanced enough to get creative with, even if you build your character with only one attribute. I'm sure that if I just ran through everything as quickly as possible, I could have beaten it in time to make a full review, but I didn't want to rush things. Elden Ring is a game about exploration and discovery, so I really didn't want to look up everything. And I really enjoyed just stumbling upon things as I drunkenly wandered around the map. So it's safe to say that I really enjoyed this game and I think it's a very good game. But all of this isn't why I actually love this game. For me, it's not about the gameplay, the art style, or the multitude of enemies, most of which are based off of your mom. I'm just kidding. Your mom's probably a pretty cool lady. So all these things are great, but they're not actually the reason that I fell in love with this game. Playing Elden Ring actually kind of made me a little upset. And it wasn't because I died a bunch or sucked at the game. It was because I realized that I had missed out on the Dark Souls franchise. And in doing so, kind of missed out on a valuable life lesson. We all know games like this are hard, but in their difficulty, we get to rise above. We get to conquer, and throughout defeat, we grow stronger. When you're first confronted with a new boss, it almost feels impossible. They beat you into an orange juice pulp over and over again, as you do your best to take so much as a sliver of their health away. However, you're not really losing. The only way to lose is to give up. Every failure is another step closer to succeeding. We all know life isn't easy, and I've always truly believed that perseverance is one of the best character traits we can instill in ourselves. And in a way, Elden Ring teaches you that. You only truly fail if you stop trying. I mean, hell, look at Thomas Edison. That asshole came up with 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. but eventually he came up with one way to actually do it right. This to me is what Dark Souls and Elden Ring is teaching us. It showed me that I can beat this, that I will overcome this obstacle, and that I am better than I think I am. As long as I put forth the effort and never quit, the impossible will soon become the probable. And I think that's beautiful, not just for gaming, but for life. Thanks for watching. Sorry this wasn't a typical review, but holy shit, there is so much to this game. If you liked the video, tell me I suck in the comments. Hopefully I'll post again in a week or two, but I don't know. I might just go try to beat this game, and I might see you guys in a month. Regardless though, we'll party soon. Can't wait. I'm gonna get out of here. Again, thanks for watching. I love you.
Wow, what a great video.